नाम संकीर्तन की। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपां साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। श्री प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की। Give me 1 second to get organized. Okay. So Hare Krishna everyone. Again, my deep gratitude to be here. And before I begin, I request the permission of all of you, especially my seniors, His Holiness Krishna Kshetra Maharaj, His Holiness Sachinanda Maharaj, I think is not able to come, he's online. Grace Kosha Rupa Mataji, His Grace Padahari Prabhu, and many other illustrious Vaishnavas who are here. Please give me your blessing so that I can serve you. It's a wonderful opportunity for me to go deeper in my own understanding of Krishna consciousness. And we actually began this topic entitled The 7 Triggers of Transformation last April in Goloka Dham. We triggered the topic, but we only got 2 sessions in. So Maharaj, Sachinanda Maharaj suggested that we do the whole topic here, so we'll try to do it in the next few days. Transformation is a topic which is very dear to Sachinanda Maharaj and also myself. For me, transformation is what makes Krishna consciousness exciting. It's what makes Krishna consciousness a dynamic spirituality rather than a ritualistic religion. It's what makes us a movement rather than just an institution or a formal organization. When there's transformation, there's happiness, there's joy. When there's transformation, there's dynamism, amazing things happen. And when there's transformation, then the whole world will be attracted. And therefore, transformation is the key to living a dynamic spiritual life. And then also, it's the key to actually doing the sacred duty given to us to actually attract the whole world to Krishna consciousness, because just by being transformed, that's the best advertisement. It's better than any strategy. It's better than any preaching initiative. Just when people see happy, joyful, transformed individuals, they will be attracted. Of course, here we say transformation as a topic, but in essence, we're not really transforming into anything new, because our scriptures tell us, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem Sadhya Kabu Noi Shravanadi Sudachite Karaye Udoi. That love for Krishna is eternally established within the heart of the living entity. And therefore, in one sense, when we talk about transformation, we're not transforming into anything new. But what we're actually doing is just trying to transform into our original consciousness. And so it's very much possible, because it's already there in the heart. And if anyone ever thinks, I can't transform, I can't do it, seems too far away, it's closer than we all think, because it's right there within our own hearts. But Shravanadi Sudachite Karaye Udoy, one has to learn the art of bhakti. And through becoming an artist in bhakti, then one will be able to revive that consciousness. So, yes, transformation. We hope this retreat will be transformational. Sometimes I tell, whenever I begin a retreat, I say you get 25% of your money back on this retreat if you go home a bit more relaxed. Then you got 25% of your value. If you go back home and not only feeling relaxed, but educated, you learn something new, then you get 50%. If on top of that you go home and you also feel inspired, then 75%. But if you want your full value for this retreat, then it's not just a question of relaxation. It's not even just a question of education. It's beyond that, inspiration, but even beyond that, it's transformation, to actually feel a different person. Whenever I used to go to Vrindavan, then one devotee, he used to always tell me, whenever you go to Vrindavan, you never return the same person. So yes, we want to be transformed. Once we did a retreat, and at the end everyone was doing their testimonial, and someone said, this retreat changed me. So all inspired. He said, I put on 10 kgs. That's good. Very good. We're happy the prasadam was good. But it would also be nice if there was other changes. So yes, to really change. And we all want to be a genuine devotee. The real thing. In England they say, the real McCoy. We don't want to just, Srila Prabhupada says, a show bottle spiritualist. It's funny actually, a few weeks ago I was stuck at an airport. Deja vu. It happens sometimes. I was stuck at Heathrow Airport. I can't remember where I was flying. And so I had a bit of time on my hands. So I thought I'd do something that I've never done before at Heathrow Airport. You know what I decided to do? I went to the prayer room. I was like, let's see what the prayer room at Heathrow Airport's like. I went to the prayer room. I had a few hours to kill on my hands. So I went to the prayer room. It was very interesting. It was split into 3 sections. So in the first section, there was a kind of like a pew with a Bible. No one was in that room, part of the room, unfortunately. The middle part had the mats. So that was clearly the place where the those from the Islamic faith would come and do namaz. So there was a whole family there doing namaz. So I kind of walked past them just to see what was in the third one. So the third one was kind of like, I guess, all the rest of the religion. All of that. So I thought, all right, let me do it. Let me just sit down here, let's chant a few rounds, see what happens. So I was chanting there while our Muslim brothers and sisters were doing their namaz. And then you wouldn't guess what happened. I was there chanting, and I was sitting like this on the chair, and I heard some people walking in. But obviously you've got to chant attentively, so you don't just so I was just trying to not, open my eyes and then, but I knew two people, some people were in the room. So then at one point, I just thought yeah, I've got to see who this is now. So I was chanting, and then I opened my eyes, and there were two police officers in front of me with machine guns. And you know the first thing they said to me? Are you praying? I was like, I'm not sure, but I am now. I mean, it's it's amazing. They just came in, they just opened my eyes. There were two machine guns, and they looked at me and they said, are you praying? So I said, yeah, I'm praying. They said, good. This is a prayer room. I said, so I was like, okay. Krishna's, these Vishnu Dutas, or who are and then that was it. And that was it. And they just walked out. So they actually came in to the prayer room to check that everyone in there was actually praying. I was like, I better start praying, Maybe I'm not praying hard enough, So I was like... And then I realized even they were not I mean, look at me. I mean, I'm not saying I'm a pure devotee, but I look like a religious person here. I'm not just hanging out on my social media in the prayer room, But even they were not impressed. They were not just impressed by this external. They wanted to know, are you really praying? So that was my takeaway, that, Krishna is not fully impressed, and even others are not impressed. You've got to be the real. So it's transforming and actually being the real thing. It's not such an easy thing. I don't know how many of you feel like that, but sometimes I just feel like a pretender. Do you sometimes feel like a pretender? Sometimes I come in front of the mic and I come here and people are sitting and I have to pretend to be totally in the zone and yes. And I'm I feel like a pretender sometimes. Krishna, forgive me. I'm trying. Mithyachar. But we're trying. We're all trying to transform. And what I want to share with you, I hope, will be powerful. The triggers of transformation. Okay, I'm just using one thing. So yeah, transformation. I was speaking to another person recently, and they asked me a question, and I just want to see what your answer to this would be. They said, transformation, he said, Krishna's made it so hard. I said, why? And they said, because he's made all the bad habits so easy to form. But the good habits, takes blood, sweat, and tears. He said Krishna stacked the odds against us. Because he wants us to transform, but all the bad habits to go in the deviated way is so easy, isn't it? It's so easy to get addicted to chocolate. Effortless. We don't need seminars transform into a chocolate addict. It just happens. But when it comes to becoming Krishna conscious, here we are saying it's eternally established within the heart, but it's we need to sit down, we need to think, we need to inspire each other, we need to do so many things, come back to the drawing board, okay, back for another year, let's try again. Why does Krishna make bad habits so easy to form, but good habits, difficult. Any ideas? Do. It's like one of those strange but true. Yeah? So he's doing it deliberately. He's doing it deliberately because he wants to test you. Okay. It reminds
me of when Prabhupada was asked, why is Maya so strong? He was asked that, and his answer was, Maya's not strong. Your purpose is weak.
Okay. So Maya is not strong. Our purpose is not strong. Yeah. But still, why? Okay, so then you're saying that bad things shouldn't be hard, but it's just that our purpose is not strong enough. Okay, but why does it seem that even for like... I'll come back to that one in a minute. I'm going to come back to that one. Let me just get some more ideas. Why are bad habits so easy to form? Yeah.
Bad habits we see instant gratification, but good things we take years before we can see the results. So we want to see the results.
Why did Krishna make it like that?
Why?
Why? Why doesn't Krishna let you do that straight away?
We ask for it.
We ask for it. That's a good one. Okay. Yes, from the lady's side. You know what it's like with this. There's always truth to all of these, but I'm just, for the sake of the interactive. Yes.
Well, if we think of it in terms of millions of lifetimes, perhaps it wasn't actually so difficult. It's just we have so many samskars, and because of that, it's just so much easier now. I have taste for those bad habits.
Okay, so you're saying because we've done something for a long time, we're kind of wired in that way now. Okay, good. Anything else different? Yes?
We always tend to appreciate and hold more valuable things which are more difficult to attain.
Okay, so you're saying Krishna deliberately makes good spiritual habits difficult to form because we'll value it more. Interesting.
It's not about Krishna making it.
It's not Krishna making it like that. But you said if we get it easily, we won't value it. So does Krishna make it? Does Krishna make good habits difficult? Is that Krishna making it like that?
No.
No.
But in the process, we will transform our heart.
Okay. One or two others, and then, yeah, okay, go on then. Seeing as you're close by, yes?
I'm taking off from her that it was not Krishna making it, it was our choice to decide to develop these bad habits. And
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you're okay. One more? Anyone? Okay. Badari Prabhu.
I was in a laundromat one time overhearing two alcoholics talking about how in the beginning they had no taste for drinking, but they pursued and gradually they got a taste.
Okay, wow. Yes, the alcoholic Suvacha. Amazing, yeah. Okay. I think there's truth to everything you're saying. I love one word Srila Prabhupada uses, and I just kind of was reminded of this word because we were driving up the mountains today, and I really like this word Prabhupada uses. You know which word I'm going to write, right? Inclination. It's a very beautiful word, actually. As we know, we've all come up the mountains here, and we were all going up that road. And an inclination is when a road is kind of angled in a certain way. So like we were going uphill and there's a steep, what we call a steep inclination. And when something is inclined in a certain way, imagine you had a kind of jug of water here and you poured it down. Then what would happen, because the road is inclined in a certain way, everything would go a certain way, isn't it? Effortlessly. And in the same way, if you think about it, our consciousness is also inclined, just like a road. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Our consciousness, very kind of you, thank you. You can keep it here. Our consciousness is also inclined, just like a road. So say, for example, if this is the modes of passion and ignorance, and this is the mode of goodness, then what happens is that the waves of life and the energy of life, because we're inclined in a certain way to gravitate towards ignorance or passion, this is supposed to be passion, to gravitate towards ignorance and passion almost becomes very, very natural because our consciousness is inclined in that way. And so I was explaining to this person who was asking me, why is it so easy to form bad habits and so difficult to form good spiritual habits? I said, because right now we're inclined in the wrong way. So therefore, all the water, all the energy is going in a certain direction and it's effortless. And to change that inclination is a whole process, and that's the process of transformation. So for example, if you are pouring water down here and it was going this way, and actually you wanted to go it that way, then the first thing you would do is you would restrict. So what you could do is you could build like a dam or something there, which would stop the water. And then what you would do is you'd redirect the water. So you'd try to push the water the other side. But eventually, that would just become very, very difficult to continually doing. What you would ultimately have to do is reconstruct the whole road and incline it in a different way. And basically, this is what we're doing in Krishna consciousness. It has to come to the point where eventually our consciousness and the inclination of our own consciousness is reconstructed in such a way that it just becomes natural to wake up. It just becomes natural to embrace the mode of goodness. Every anga of devotional service just becomes spontaneously something we feel inclined to be absorbed in. And that is the process of transformation. For most sadhakas, we are just here, and this is hard work. It seems as though so much of our spiritual life is just about restriction and redirection, to constantly try and push our consciousness to the other direction. And after sometimes it gets more and more and more tiring. Then eventually what we have to do is we have to come here, reconstruct. And this is real transformation in Krishna consciousness. I'm sure it's possible, but how do we reconstruct that road so that everything just becomes spontaneously natural for us? That is a process. This is a very, very beautiful verse from the Bhagavatam, which appears in the chapter entitled Pure Devotional Service, The Change in Heart. It's a very beautiful chapter from the second canto of the Bhagavatam. And it basically tells us the problem we have at the moment. So you can repeat after me. Tadasmasaram hridayam batedam yadgriyamaner harinamadheyai na vikriyeta tayada vikaro netre jalam gata ruheshu harsha. So this verse is basically delineating our condition. And really a very, very strong point is made that right now our heart is steel framed. It hasn't become sensitized enough to spiritual stimuli. And therefore, in spite of engaging with so many angas of bhakti which have incredible potency and incredible power, still there's no movement of the heart, there's no change of the emotions, there's still no spontaneous sense of being attracted and captured and enchanted by the things that we're doing. Our heart is almost like it's become steel framed, so that even when the bullets of spiritual experience come, they almost just rebound. And therefore we can't hold it, we can't absorb it. And therefore, Sutta Goswami tells, actually no, this is, if I remember correctly, this is Sukadev speaking. So certainly that heart is steel framed, which in spite of one's chanting the holy name of the Lord with concentration does not change, even when one displays such signs of transformation as tears in the eyes and ecstatic standing of the hairs on end. And this is Prabhupada's purport. The whole process of spiritual culture is aimed at changing the heart of the living being in the matter of his eternal relation with the Supreme Lord as subordinate servant, which is his eternal constitutional position. So remember, just in your mind, remember that inclination. We're trying to incline it back to the Lord. So with the progress of devotional service, the reaction of change in heart is exhibited by gradual detachment from the sense of material enjoyment, by a false sense of lording it over the world, and an increase in the attitude of rendering loving service to the Lord. Vidhi Bhakti, or regulated devotional service by the limbs of the body, namely the eyes, ears, nose, hands and legs, as already explained herein before, is now stressed herein in relation to the mind, which is the impetus for all activities of the limbs of the body. So Prabhupada is explaining the whole process of spiritual culture. Number one is to change the heart, to make it again inclined, flow naturally towards the Lord. And the process by which we've been given is Vidhi Bhakti, by which we engage the limbs. So now he'll basically base the rest of his purport on the definition of Vidhi Bhakti, which Rupa Goswami gives. Kriti sadhya bhavet sadhya sadhya sa sadhana bida nitta siddhasya bhavasya prakatyam riddhi sadhyata. That sadhana bhakti, vidhi bhakti is rendered with the senses, and it is characterized by its potentiality. And its potentiality is the potentiality to awaken bhav. It is expected by all means that by discharging regulated devotional service, one must manifest the change of heart. If there is no such change, the heart must be considered steel-framed, for it is not melted even when there is chanting of the holy name of the Lord. We must always remember that hearing and chanting are the basic principles of discharging devotional duties, and if they are properly performed, there will follow the reactional ecstasy with signs of tears in the eyes and the standing of the hairs of the body. These are the natural consequences and are the preliminary symptoms of the bhava stage, which occurs before one reaches the perfectional stage of prema, love of God. Srimad Bhagavatam 2.3.24. So, this is the process of Krishna consciousness. This is the transformation. The essential transformation that we're trying to go through is to make the heart soft. The heart has to melt. The heart has to become like a pillow. Just like the steel frame is deflecting all the bullets of spiritual stimuli, the pillow is able to take those and hold them, and they become entrenched within one's being. And so that is kind of the graphic imagery that we're given of what we're trying to do. Basically make the heart soft. And therefore, it's very interesting if we would ask you, what do you think is the most important verse in the Bhagavatam? Anyone want to tell me? Just you can say one line of it. What do you think is the most important verse of the Bhagavatam? Yes? Have no fear. Okay. Okay, good. Can you give me a verse from the Bhagavatam which you would consider to be its essence? Ete cham shakalapum sha. Many say that. Jiva Goswami establishes that as the Paribhasa Sutra, that Krishna is the Supreme Person. Any others you would consider the most essential verse of the Bhagavatam? Savai pum sham bado dharmo, that devotional service is the supreme occupation and it has to be unmotivated and uninterrupted to satisfy the self. Yes? Nasta prayeshu bhadreshu, that if you render service to the Bhagavatam, the person and the book Bhagavata, then by that repeated exposure, everything is cleansed within the heart. Good. Others? Hare Nama, Hare Nama. Yes. Just a side note on that one. Once we had that verse above the altar at the manor, and someone came in and said, so I explained everything, all the pictures, because that's what people usually get most confused about. And they said, I understand all the pictures, but I don't understand this. Who's Ava? And why is she so nasty? You have to see, like, for someone who's not familiar, like, it's above your altar of worship. Nasty Ava. Nasty Ava. Nasty Ava. Who is she? Just a side note there. Any other verses? Yes, Maharaj. Sayana Katha. Thank you so much. Yes, 3:25:25. That hearing of the transcendental topics in association with the great devotees awakens one's faith, one's attachment, one's bhakti, shraddha, rati, bhakti. The reason I'm continuing this exercise is because Mahaprabhu said, my spiritual master taught me one verse from the Bhagavatam, and he said this is the Bhagavata Sar. And it's none of the verses that you all have quoted so far. Maharaj has his hand up. Maharaj, tell us. Tutachitta uchay hasatyato roditi roti gayati unmadavan nrityati loka bhayaha. The interesting thing is, Mahaprabhu said, Ishvara Puri, he taught me one verse from the Bhagavatam, and he said, this is the essence of everything. And he said, you should chant this verse again and again and again. So according to Ishvara Puri, this verse is the Bhagavata Sar. By chanting the holy name of the Supreme Lord, one comes to the stage of love of Godhead. Then the devotee is fixed in his vow as an eternal servant of the Lord, and he gradually becomes very much attached to a particular name and form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As his heart melts with ecstatic love, he laughs very loudly or cries or shouts. Sometimes he sings and dances like a madman, for he is indifferent to public opinion. This is the essence of the Bhagavatam, to become completely mad. To sing, to dance, to experience the type of ecstasy where one becomes completely oblivious to the external world around them, and to experience one's heart melt, to go from that steel-framed heart to a melted heart. That is the transformation. That's the inclination that we're trying to change. But it's not so easy. The heart remains hard. Is it? The heart doesn't seem to change. The heart, after many, many years of trying, still seems to be very, very stubborn. So I want to share with you an email, a live email. This is something that someone sent on one of our live conferences. I took his permission and he agreed. He is, some devotees are very, very straightforward. They just kind of speak their mind. They talk about the elephant in the room that nobody's really addressing. And so I'm going to show you his email that he sent to all of us. This was like earlier in the year. And it sparked a whole discussion. But he had doubts. Now, I don't want you to doubt him when you read this email, because he's a wonderful devotee. And he's been a devotee for maybe between 30 and 40 years. But he is very straightforward. And he's very candid about his thoughts. And he sent this email to all of us. Would you like to read it? Okay. Someone will be upset with this or disagree. When an email starts like that, you're like, okay, it's one of those. He's a very nice person. You may respond to this or may think it's pointless to comment or not do anything. Maybe that's a sign that deep down you agree with this. Anyway, I always spoke what's in my mind. Scriptures, liberated persons may say this process is not so difficult. You only have to control your mind, control your senses, urges, anger, etc., etc. But the liberated persons, the great souls, don't need to struggle in this bhakti process. They are not under the three modes, under the three kleshas. There is no struggle for them. But most of the devotees are just struggling in this process. A process that is supposedly easy. Personally, I don't see any remarkable change in the character of any practitioner since I joined. He's been around between 30 and 40 years. Let's see, let's dig a little. One is like this or like that, always nice or mellow, or impulsive, or humble, or whatever. Same as years and years back. Nobody really changes that much. He's making the point that, sometimes we see a humble devotee or someone who has his point is that they were already like that. They were, okay, maybe through devotional life it was refined, but basically they were always humble souls. And yeah, they came to Krishna consciousness, polished it a bit, but basically everyone's the same. So I don't really see anyone changing remarkably. I haven't seen anyone become magically transformed with devotion or especially ecstatic. So, this wishful thinking